Poppy can actually do pretty well against Zeri because she can stop a lot of her dashes, which is kind of where a lot of Zeri's strength comes from. So it looks like Rare Adam agree, which means it will be on being able to pick up the Zeri, and especially since IG have been the ones that have banded away every single game in this series, it may not be the case that On is particularly comfortable picking up the Zeri, or maybe Wink isn't comfortable playing with it. So you could end up with Rare Adam basically having a call out saying, look, we don't actually think that you play this. Rare Adam are going to get maybe both the Poppy and the Zeri here.
They could, which would be actually terrifying. But for me, the biggest thing is that we get two of the, biggest, in my eyes, the priority junglers in the meta for some of the most aggressive junglers. And we get the Poppy versus the Wukong. And honestly, a battle to see which jungler comes out on top. IG will go ahead and grab the Jax from Rare Adam's game 2.
Yeah, so I feel like you can either go towards Ahri, Zeri, looks like Rare Adam going to try and match the top lane pick here though, but I still think nabbing the Zeri for yourself is so strong, especially in these team fights, and Poppy going to do well against the Wukong, like keeping Zeri safe, opening her up to try and have these really quick movements in team fights. And if you've got the Kennen here as well, which is looking likely, that's a lot of team fight prowess to set up for a Zeri.
That's actually really huge. And now we still have so many picks that we were kind of circling around coming into this best of 3, because obviously the Ahri still on the table. We still have a lot of like the Azir from game number 1 that didn't really work out. And I wonder, okay, the Sylas comes through for Strive. Just go ahead and bold pick it.
Give me it. Give me it. This is Mo's best champion, and it's really good into Sylas because, I mean, look, you can definitely try and close the gap on the Sylas to get on towards the Zoe, and if you do, it looks great, but not giving a decent ultimate across to the Sylas and being able to play at range is perfect. So honestly, actually, IG here could end up looking for something like a Ezreal or even the Zeri for themselves as well to find that poke style composition. Zeri's W definitely got nerfed and hit pretty hard over the last few patches, so we may not kind of see her go fully into this like poke composition, but I still think for IG, something like the Ezreal could work fantastically here, especially when you're looking at how short range Rare Adam are.
I would expect more bans to be focused down towards that bottom lane. That's the only thing we have left. I do wonder if we do get the more ADC bans going into this one. Obviously, Zeri, if she makes it through the second phase of bans, I just wonder how that even happens. The Draven actually banned from RA, so they don't want to go with a second iteration of that from On.
Yeah, this is where it gets a bit funky. So if On is going to go towards the Ezreal, well then I think it opens up a Kai'Sa for iBoy, so maybe you don't want to do that for Rare Adam. Maybe it's IG just trying to set up for a Jinx pickup here. True. I mean, Draven gone, Lucian gone, the Aphelios is gone, and there's not a huge amount of carries that can really answer that. Sivir now taken off the board as well. Feels like it could be a Jinx angle here for On, or maybe they're even looking at something like Xayah saying, hey, self-peel is going to be fantastic, with that Zeri ban finally coming through for Rare Adam.
We'll see. We're down in the depths right now of the ADC pool, but still some very strong ones. Right, those depths, they're not very deep because there's a lot of really good ADC choices, and as you were saying, it's really a toss-up between the Xayah and the Jinx, and which one IG will be willing to go with. You get a little bit more setup for the composition that you have. You get a little bit more CC if you go with the Xayah, and there you go.
Yeah, I think they didn't want to pigeonhole themselves, because I think if you take the Jinx, you need to then pair with a Thresh in the bot side, whereas with the Xayah, you're a little bit more open. Potential to go for something like a Rakan here that can cause a lot of issues for Rare Adam when they try to engage. Maybe even going for something like the Braum as well, provide that disengage could be great, but again, you do have to be careful about like what ultimates you're giving across to this Sylas. So maybe it is just going to be the Xayah Rakan in the spot lane, especially if Ezreal's locked in. Rakan fits nicely against that Ez.
I like the Ezreal though, a little bit more safety for iBoy, maybe some playmaking even with the global ulti, but now it's really the question of what Zorah will be picking up. Right, we've seen 2 iterations from Zorah so far. He went with the Braum in game 2, and then was the Yumi in game number 1. It'll be Braum again for game 3.
Yeah, so it looks like they were thinking of taking the Rakan away, but they're going to decide not to in the end of things. So overall, you're kind of looking at both sides wanting to have big scraps and big team fights. Mole going to be trying to see if he can land these triple bubbles set up for Shun to get that follow-up engage. Same with Wink. Poppy going to play a big part in trying to dissuade a lot of these engage tools from Invictus Gaming. But I also like that IG have got, well, actually, honestly, on both sides, teams have kind of self-sufficient AD carries with the ultimate for the Xayah, the arcane shift for the Ezreal. It's not like you need a huge amount of protection, because both these teams want to do is dive in heavily. So you need to make sure that your AD carries are going to be able to fend for themselves.
I just wonder, though, do we get a difference from what we've seen in the other two games where it's literally relied on early advantages and then it just snowballs from there? Do you think we get a little bit more reservation going to the late game?
I think we will potentially. I think there's a lot of opportunities for IG to get active on the map early, though. Like Mole gonna have full control over mid. On and Wink should have control over bot side as well, so maybe you look to set up for dives. Maybe you can try and look for those kind of things. Cube should have a relatively okay time against Zika in the top side, so that's where Leyan could try and put some of his pressure. But I think definitely the cards are in IG's hands, and it's a case of what they want to try and do with them in these early stages.
Well, let's get down to it, Dagda. Game number 3 between Rare Adam and IG. Will the M+X equation work out to another gaming moment? Or will the genius of Rare Adam come to life when it matters most? I guess in a series, at least. I think it's an absolutely big clash between these two, where we've seen volatility in game 1, game 2, and we get the tried and true crazy bout in game number 3, even with the spicy level 1s.
We'll have to see how this one's going to pan out. Cube and Zika would already find each other, but I don't think Zika realizes just how many members of Rare Adam are coming in behind this. This is a bit of a sneaky play.
I like it. I like the sneak. But, you know, just trying to get a little bit of pressure on this upside. I didn't see any actual vision go down up there either from RA. So really just looking for a little bit of spice early on from them. But the vision game has been set up from IG for sure.
Yeah, and I like this, at least getting some sort of early information on both sides here to try and figure out exactly what the game plan is going to be. Again, for Rare Adam, I think this is probably going to be a bit of an issue where they won't have proper information exactly where everyone's starting, but IG, knowing what Leyan is going to be up to, will make things 10 times easier for them as they start to go through this, especially if Shun is trying to avoid Leyan and trying to get in towards these lanes. Understanding exactly what Leyan is doing on his path is going to be super important.
It has been so important there. That's why that big spotlight is on these two junglers. And I do want to go back to the fact that we got to see Shun be a lot more of a supportive role, I guess, in their win in game number 1. But I'm looking at him this time to kind of put up some of that aggression in terms of when we get to the fights that Leyan was able to do. But again, Leyan got the Poppy this time. That's what we have to focus on, because it has not been let through. And RA already working through with the Poppy skirmish profile.
And I like this here, just a nice transitional gank from Leyan. It means that Mole has to back off and gives pressure towards Strive to see if he can try and keep that lane in check. Leyan moving in, though, to try and steal with the Raptors. Shun will be there shortly, and Mole's already coming across.
Yeah, they already realize what's going down. Mole won't be able to get any of those chickens. He gets one, but he gets hit into the wall. This could be first blood. RA try to go for it. The abduct goes through, but Mole's still alive. You said was his best champion. Well, the level 2's working out so far. IG trying to go for their first blood. It is such a close bout, but Leyan goes down and Shun gets the kill.
Brilliant stuff coming through from IG to respond to that pressure. And now Rare Adam already on the back foot. IG and Shun, MNX, creating those gaming moments.
I'm already hearing the moles in the background. I hear Lyric off somewhere. It is his time to shine, and the support into Shun's gameplay. That's what we got to keep an eye out on. Meanwhile, Wink and On pushing into the tower, but taking some trades back in the bottom lane. We got to look at Leyan's response at this point. He's down 0-1. We got to see that tempo retained for them.
I mean, fantastic stuff. Again, like Mo, we talked about having priority in that mid lane. Leyan tried to get it with that quick transitional gank, but definitely not enough. Good flank from Mole as well. Good dodge away, being able to keep himself nice and topped up. And from that point forward, Mole able to use his presence here to make sure that he's in a good spot, to keep at range. He even picks up the flash there and finishes it off. IG on the board, coming into game number 3.
I know it's nothing for a professional player, but even having to deal with the nuisance, what that was, that like one chicken that was left as a Zoe, like just piloting around that, the little movements, it's really good to see Mole playing confidently already in this game, as the Zoe is going to be so crucial for, you know, the bottom side of the map, at least the 4 trio, I guess it's a quad trio, not trio.
Doug Trio.
Coming together, yeah, there you go, Doug Trio. Especially because, you know, Zika's going to be playing that side lane a lot more, and you're going to need the Sleepy Trouble bubbles to be aces for Mole.
What is going on here, lads?
They want to fight.
Yeah, they really wanted that Scuttle Crab winking on, though, trying to see if they can get up, but won't be able to. We'll give the opportunity for iBoy to at least get this wave shoved in. iBoy running the TP as well, so we're going to see if he can try and use that to his advantage in this lane to find moments to outpace on and Wink back down to the spot side. I think it's going to be crucial, specifically at the Rift Heralds, where if iBoy is able to try and play both sides of the map with the teleport like that, it's going to make things a hell of a lot easier. Zorah on the reset, though, may move mid as Mole is under trouble.
Nice little sleep given over to Leyan, and he will not get much from the mid lane gank.
Zorah is here, though, so it looks like with the reset that came through, Rare Adam are trying to bait IG into overcommitting for a play here.
Mole weaving a nice little Sleepy Trouble bubble in the middle there, but Shun backing him up just in case. Dragon has now spawned. Let's see if they want to go for early aggression that way, but again, they don't have much damage to speak of in that term. But they are hovering down bottom lane, and Mole, actually Shun, just goes for the Dragon itself.
Yeah, IG just reading where Leyan is. They know he's moved up towards his top side, so they know they're okay. On and Wink have full control on bot. Wink. Not quite able to get the knock up, but it should be alright.
Hey, you love to see the attempts from the man, as we were talking about him, the ADC / support, should, can, all those questions. And we've seen we're gonna need to see that pickup here from Wink on the rakan with that duo of the Xayah, really big for the engage and follow up at least for IG.
Oh, already. Rare Adam trying to bite back, but unfortunately not quite able to get themselves into a spot where... Oh, as I said that, actually.
you cast a curse. Well, Wink goes back in. Concussive Blow still on 3 stacks, and Wink doesn't get him hit on him. So nice little trading back and forth, but IG getting the better of that one. We will see Leyan hovering down bottom lane, though, at this point. He's going straight here to kind of cover for iBoy and Zorah.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be under too much strain, though. The wave is pushing in towards Wink and on, so just more here to make sure they can crash this wave. And remember what we talked about with the TP from iBoy? It's just getting up towards that Rift Herald now. So iBoy can move back down towards the spot side off of reset while still being able to keep the TP in case he... Never mind.
You cast a curse yourself. You give
I was going to say,
team,
he walks down bot lane, he keeps the TP, and then he's able to always TP to that mid lane turret if Rare Adam want to try and fight for the Rift Herald. But now, instead, he will just kind of collapse these waves, but... it does mean that On and Wink, when they get back here, should be able to push out this wave a little bit quicker and will still be able to keep pressure up towards the Rift Herald. So, not the biggest fan of that TP usage from iBoy. I think he could have used that a lot more successfully. Especially because, like, even look at the moment, right? He could have just walked back to lane and still grabbed that wave that he just did.
Absolutely. We'll see if that comes back to bite him a little bit more. But we did see, actually, Wink on the roam up towards this Rift Herald right before it spawns, but... a little early, we'll be heading back down towards bottom lane, and with land pathing up here and towards Zika, I could expect that. Oh, actually, Slicing Maelstrom gets used by Cube. I was gonna say maybe they just keep a little pressure up here and go for the Rift Herald, but Cube wanted it.
I mean, Cube's ultimate being down for Rift Herald means that you're kind of missing out on both sides of the map now. No ultimate for your top laner. You won't be able to get iBoy into position for this fight, but it looks like IG aren't fully convinced that they can go for this fight at the moment. They're actually going to move back down, and Shun's going to clear out his red. Or sorry, his blue would like to hit level 6 before the Rift Herald, which is why we're seeing kind of that slow push on hitting 6 as well on that bottom side. Now gives control to IG if they want to try and go for this.
Wink is already in mid lane. You see Leyan having to come down here now as well. Shun coming here. The nice grand entrance will get Strive caught up, and not too much damage to follow up against the Zoe. Need a little bit more setup than that. But Leyan's waiting in the bush here. Vision game cleared out by IG, but Abduct goes through, and you get the big amount of damage from just the Poppy into the grouping. The True Shot Barrage across doesn't hit the big amount, and now we have a trade. It's 1-1. Shun goes down after an overextension, and RA come out on top of the play they set up from the start.
IG tried to fully commit in towards River, but they didn't have Zika in the top side. Zika had reset and was TPing back into the top lane with a massive wave crashing to his turret. So able to move Cube down faster. 4A know they have the numbers advantage, and Strive being able to steal away the quickness as well means that ultimate was so clutch in setting up that play. Strive on the Sylas, winning that fight for Rare Adam.
Man, it was a lot of AoE damage, and IG just grouped up for all of it, right? You had Strive in there, but you also like the Hammer Shock as well from Leyan. Just being able to get all that grouped up because of the engage from Strive is actually huge.
I mean, look, as you say, with Strive, the quickness, CCing both members there, follow up from Poppy, and this is just heartbreaking for Shun. Flashing over the wall, try and finish Strive, doesn't get that one either. So apparently that TP for iBoy didn't mean diddly squat, as IG weren't able to actually play the map correctly. So now you're looking at iBoy, who's able to continuously fend for himself in that bot lane. He's perfectly happy working up towards his items. Strive now with 2 assists, a kill going across over towards Poppy as well, make things a little bit easier. But IG, despite everything, it's actually going to be them who get the Rift Tower. I thought Rare Adam would be able to move back over towards the Rift Tower, but not feeling comfortable to do so.
They're actually setting up very early around the Dragon right now, trying to get the Scuttle Crab division down while the Rift Herald goes. So IG will gladly take some of these resources in their own pockets at this point, and they're pinging down mid to keep the pressure up, maybe even use the Rift Herald to get some plates right off the bat, but I would expect with the defensive RA, that's not going to be the point.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god, they're going to go in as well. Leyan almost down, and he goes to On. That'll be a big pickup for IG. He has to use Blade Caller to try and get the rest of the damage. True Shot Barrage coming across won't actually hit anybody, and there's the Rift Herald.
Yeah, Rift Tower going to be able to crack open, I feel like, this tier 2, just with the amount of people that are around here for IG, but maybe not wanting to stick around that bit too long here, as Rare Adam are considering mounting a defense. iBoy will get 2 plates for himself on the bot side at the minimum as well. Actually, looks like he might have got himself 3rd in a moment as well, so he's trading back there pretty well for Rare Adam, all said and done.
Pretty nicely staggered as well from IG, just keeping some of that pressure in mid lane for a little longer. The Dragon is up, aren't seeing that big of a priority down here. We have a couple teams from IG, but because of the crazy chaos in mid lane, that kind of upended all the plans with the early movement from RA, and Leyan now trying to get a little bit more vision, trying to get a little bit more pressure around this, make sure they aren't doing the Dragon. But as resets were coming out for the bottom lane of RA, he'll have some support, but not for a little while.
Yeah, iBoy is still trying to make his way over, whereas everyone is here for IG. Mole in a good flank position here so he can get damage off. Keep your eyes on that engage from Shun, though. If he can bypass the Poppy Steadfast Presence, that could be the difference maker.
Strive has the Featherstone here, so very interesting choice in that one. But he'll just go back to mid lane and push, and IG look like they have won the pressure game, at least at this point. They won't transition into Dragon as they want to try to get back into the push in mid. And RA just don't want to let this one go. They want to move back in, but look at that vision game. It's going to take a lot to clear all of this. But IG, they did get a reset from Mole, so not much to defend.
Yeah, and the Ignite and the heal there, so don't have the teleport to get back in. Featherstorm was used by Strive that was about to time out. Mole nerdy there, but I think Rare Adam just burst this and move out. Maybe IG can make a play into mid-turret afterwards, though.
Big verdict, not going to be full. And Leyan will get this Dragon. Okay, very closely. But Sun goes for the Cyclone and the rest of them, and there's the quickness as well from Wink. They have caught out Zorah, and he goes down to the one, the only, the Mole.
I mean, that was just a bit of a upsie from Leyan there, not stepping up with the team, so the steadfast presence wasn't there. Shun jumps in immediately. Now Mole, trying to see if he can find a few more problems here, but it will give him the opportunity for IG to at least back away. Nobody went towards the mid lane, though. So nobody actually gets the tower in the mid lane, despite all the pressure that IG created. It looks like a bit of a map movements shenanigans not really coming together there for IG.
Zika might go actually. Oh my god. Zika might want to back away from that one, I would say. But we'll see the top lane aggression pay off for Cube. Just nobody there to watch. It's like if a tree falls in the woods, it doesn't make a noise. We will get a replay of that dragon fight to kind of catch out onto Zorah.
Yeah, and there you can see, like, where Leyan was positioned in the pit, he was positioned to flash over the wall. But because of that, it means that Wink and Shun have free reign in fights, no steadfast presence to keep them out, so they're able to chase down a whole bunch of folks. iBoy loses flash, Leyan loses the flash, and Zorah loses life. And now Cube also losing his flash off the back of this, but Wink is still in the area. I don't know how heavily they want to try and commit for this, though.
Mo will say, I gladly take here flash. Thank you very much. Zika now in a 2v1 in the bottom lane trying to defend this tower. They really want to get this last plate, but I don't think they can overextend too much because Zika will just kill iBoy straight up. True Shot Barrage comes out just a little bit wide there, but we're seeing a little bit more movement and setup around mid lane. Though Mole, not a lot of mana, really wanted that plate and actually makes it out like a bandit.
Yeah, having the flash stolen away there makes things a little bit easier for the spell thief as well. So Mole able to escape away. IG now starting to establish themselves on this bottom side of the map, trying to make it uncomfortable for Leyan to try and move into his own jungle.
Strive wants to go back in. He has stolen the quickness. Leyan will try to get his red buff here, but not going to have much support. Strive is backing on the vision there, so
Wait.
IG know they can move right in.
On even getting that one as well. Gonna give that a nice little bit of a boon to the AD carry. The biggest problem that you're seeing though is resets coming through for Rare Adam for both solo laners. You got Zika already on that bot lane turret. Mid lane under pressure, but they're able to mount at least enough defense with iBoy and Zorah, so not going to be too much. But Zika getting some alone time with this bot lane turret is going to maybe give this one a cross.
Now, if I was in On's place, I would, maybe come help his bottom laner take the tower. It's Cube using another Maelstrom onto Zika, and the rest of IG moving top lane onto Strive at this point with Shunt coming up here. Get a little gank. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble didn't go wide, or did go wide at least, so he won't be able to find it here. We'll back off, but Zorah's going to be right around the corner. And actually, in the end, it's RA setting up for a play on top side.
Yeah, it's a bit of back and forth here. Strive and Zorah trying to move up towards top side gives On and Wink the opportunity to push in this bot side.
Ooh, that was interesting. I think he used it onto the minion there, but the quickness there goes through as well. On has to use the Feather Storm, so ultis are utilized. You do get some cooldowns out as well as the flash.
Mistake on position there from On though means that you've now got Zika who's called up to mid. Cube should get bot tower, and we do have Rift Tower about to spawn with Rare Adam having control of the area. So IG, few errors there with now leaving On vulnerable, could give a good amount of space here for Rare Adam if they try and take a fight.
We'll be able to take this tier 2 tower. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will connect onto Zorah as well. But it's just there for the looks, I guess, and IG move on to the Rift Herald, so at least getting some more neutral objective focus for themselves. But Strive is coming down to try to contest, and so is Leyan.
Yeah, bot tower under pressure from Cube. Do Rare Adam commit?
Oh, he
steals it!
The Sleepy Trouble Bubble did connect. They're not going to get the eye. Leyan, you should just flash. Okay, gets out. Now Strive, he wants to get in there and go for the eye, but it's a
Cube
bait.
is coming.
They are TPing. iBoy's coming up, but he's mispositioned a little bit. Needs to be very careful. That's the keeper's verdict. Out, Mole. Cube, go get the eye. There he goes. He got it. There, at least they get the objective. Cube uses the slicing maelstrom. They're going to get more. Zika's flash is burned. Shun gets a lot of aggression onto him, but that's 2 ultis used now from RA. And big engage from Wink, but he's about to die too. This is mayhem.
They're all so low on both sides, but they will manage to stagger away everything invested when it comes towards the ultimates on both sides, apart from Wink having the quickness now up and available, and 3 seconds until that dragon. I don't know if we're going to get another fight, but On should have his ultimate up alongside iBoys in just a moment's time. Strive will have access to some of these key ultimates a bit faster, so maybe Rare Adam feel like with those ultis available, they can maybe look for a fight.
Man, for 5 kills total in 17.5 minutes, it feels like we've had a lot more fights than that. And we have, because it's just been skirmish heavy, but everybody kind of relenting at the last moment, kind of backing off, not the exact overextensions we see, besides Shun the one time. But the biggest thing for me is this map pressure we've seen, the movement. We've seen teams try to set up for plays and have to call off, and now we're looking at objectives being used, right? Cube did end up sneaking through, taking that stolen eye, and they will get more pressure on top side as well.
And the thing is, the solo laners of Rare Adam have been the ones that are benefiting from it. Strive with a level advantage. Cube momentarily, as we took that fight, at a 2-level advantage over Zika as well, because they've just been situated in lanes 4 longer, and a 50 CS advantage for Cube as well, helping out that they want to abuse.
Zika, very, very precarious positioning there. Dragons essentially started up by IG at this point. We got a couple pings from RA, but it'll be a cross-map objective for IG. So that'll be a nice second dragon stack. Not going to mean much in the grand scheme of things here, but we got to look back at the mid pressure, back at where Leyan and the rest of RA are going to strike next, because I do want to go back to the conversation we're having in terms of like, will we see a little bit of more Berserk early game going into a very skirmish-heavy, team fight-oriented late game? And I think we're right on track for that.
Yeah, and I think the mid game is about to hit hard for Rare Adam as well for those team fights. I mean, you've got an item and a half now for Cube. Strive having the Everfrost completed, working up towards the Zanya Hourglass. iBoy as well, nearly up towards the Muramana. Like, these are pretty big item breakpoints coming across for Rare Adam. Whereas when you look across at IG, like, On wants time with this this crit build on the Xayah. Zika as well, only sitting on one item. He's been struggling in this top side. So Rare Adam have a moment now where they can try and continue to abuse this mid-game spike for quite a bit of time, because this game hasn't accelerated too quickly.
Yeah, just looking at Shun's items, and obviously still trying to build up to that extent, but I feel like the power is in RA's hands, and he will have the scanner pop, but they don't get seen until the last second. He'll break there and catch a little bit there for you. But Shun escaping narrowly. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does connect onto Leyan. They go with the Cyclone, and here comes the Keeper's Verdict. Only gets one out of there. The Slicing Maelstrom, big Cyclone reactivation from Shun, though, stops the re-engage of Leyan.
TP from Striving towards the mid lane as well. Looks like Rare Adam want to try and use the fact that so much was committed by IG towards that, but Mole still doing damage here.
He gets two. Oh man, the double Battlestar damage there just to poke down RA a little bit. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Still need to be careful.
Just get a nice little true shot, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good amount of damage here for Rare Adam. They can try and push forward here. Leyan going to move in as well, especially with two members low health. Mo trying to play at range here, knowing that he has an advantage over Rare Adam. But still, wave is gone. IG clear that one out. Everyone from Rare Adam here.
iBoy's poke is actually pretty incredible right now with the 2-item spike, the Essence Reaver, plus the Manamune completed. So we're seeing those Mystic shots do tons of work. Mo will land yet another Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Won't follow this one up. I think that would be a death sentence, even though there's no thresh in the game. Shun is hovering around here, and another Sleepy Trouble Bubble connects. Again, not much they can do about it.
The thing is, though, IG are farming up this whole time that all 5 members of Rare Adam are positioned mid. Zika pushing in bot side, getting some much needed gold back in his favor. Shun was able to collect all of his topside camps as well. So not exactly the best use of time here for Rare Adam, and giving it a little bit of time for IG now to get their gold back in their favor, even getting lanes back in their favor as well. Buying time for On to potentially get up towards his 3rd item. Like, not exactly Rare Adam pushing the game forward as they could potentially.
And there's little bits that you have to keep in mind going into the later parts of the game, right? Because you will have to always keep an eye out on where Zika is. He will be constantly pushing in that side lane, where Cube, he's looking for those big flanks, right? He's looking for those big moments in the team fights to get all the lockdown with the Slicing Maelstrom and have everybody follow up with him. So it's going to be a duality of when does Cube decide to leave Zika? How do we see Zika involved in the extra aggression in the side lane as well?
Yeah, I think for Rare Adam, trying to play through the sides a bit more is actually the answer here. Strive should have good control over that side against Mole, just with the ability to continuously push waves. You can always try and dive Mole as well if given the opportunity. So you do have to be very careful here as Mole, and at least that'll give Strive the opportunity to then, even if he doesn't want to dive, just move in towards mid lane, create numbers advantages, steal away some of these big ultimates like we're seeing at the moment.
They're heavily positioned around mid lane, and again, those Mystic shots are really doing some work. Even just the auto attacks off the Essence Flux are doing some serious work. But Mole's right back at it with the Sleepy Trouble Bubbles and trying to connect some engage for IG, because one big catch out from Mole, like we've seen in previous games, would make the difference in a lot of these fights. The catches with this composition are deadly.
And that's why they need to listen to step 1 for Rare Adam. Like, push sides first, then move mid, because Mole is just free firing this entire time, and he's fine. Like, he doesn't really need to worry about any of these problems, because he's got a ton of walls he can work with. He's got a bunch of safety here. They've got vision galore, and maybe Zorah might be in trouble.
I'm stopping Zorah here. Zika is actually on his way first to try to collapse potentially, but the rest of IG just moving in. The vision game pushing in mid lane as well. And it's just been a constant push from IG. Mole try to get the Sleepy Trouble Bubble now again onto Leyan. A lot of damage from that Battlestar. We got an engaged bottom lane, though, as the quickness had been used from Wink. Wink gets almost all of his health bar taken out, and the True Shot barrage will barely miss. Zika gets out as well. Shun maybe caught in the transition here. We'll be able to use his flow to get out as well.
Dragon in 5 seconds, though, and that's all that IG really wanted. And with Leyan, oh, it's good to say low, nearly dead. And also Cube now flashless and ultless. IG will get the 3rd dragon of the game. So stacking these up nice and quick and just using the fact that they have control over the side lanes to look for these picks you're seeing in the bottom right corner of your screen and make things uncomfortable for Rare Adam. They're not getting the chance to abuse this item spike like they were hoping for.
Yeah, it would have been... I was going to start talking about the bottom lane, but iBoy and On, they're going out. Oh my god, On! Okay, I see you. He wants to be a genius.
Yeah, maybe we want to cool the jets here a little bit on, because Flash gone, ult gone, and iBoy will still get the reset off. Even has TP to get back, so not going to be too far behind the play. But a lot of those safety tools now gone for On. Baron was up, which is the idea here for the AD carry from IG. If you get to pick an iBoy, maybe you can turn that into a Baron. But it looks like Rare Adam, knowing that those safety tools are down for On, want to start up this Baron. You have the ultimate nearly up for Cube, but not quite yet. Not
quite yet, and that's where I was at. Maybe some capitalization from IG, but the Baron slowly and surely going down. He'll definitely have it up, and Strive also has the quickness. So this could be a big set of Zorah taking a lot of chunk damage, though. Mole not really getting into work here. Shun could go over the wall. The quickness pop by Strive. Shun goes through. Shun gets the steal! And now we get to the slicing Maelstrom after. That cleans up Wink. But the Baron still matters because Zika's in the side lane.
I mean, they lose Wink, sure, but a Baron and the bot lane tier 2, that is huge for IG. Major blunder from Rare Adam as they try to bait out this Baron, but with no tools available to actually turn the fight. They're just getting poked down. They're just getting manhandled, and IG come away with it all.
The early smite from Leyan just left it on a silver platter from Shun. And going over early with the Cyclone to cause a huge distraction. We'll get a look at that one, Dagda.
Yeah, because you see, as soon as Leyan actually starts to ramp up with the ultimate, Shun immediately goes in, pops the Cyclone, and then look at the health that's on Leyan, right? Leyan knows that he's about to go down, so has to flash and also smite to make sure that he can actually stay alive, which opens up on a silver platter, as you rightly put it, Mazel, for Shun to steal that one away. Messy, messy stuff coming through from Rare Adam. But IG happy to capitalize on this. And now Mole's poke becomes even more obnoxious because he gets to do this underneath towers as you siege up a Baron.
Yeah, and On is just able to do a lot of damage to this tower as well. Mole's waiting to get a catch out with his Sleepy Trouble bubbles. But IG have moved into the top side of the map for RA. They're just looking for picks here. And Shun dodging out of the Everfrost at this point. Zika's right behind him. Strive needs to be really careful. Paddlestar across from Leyan, and that'll be a lot of damage on the jungler of RA. Strive needs to be really careful. Everything is on a knife's edge at this point. iBoy is stepping up. He's trying to be the carry and trying to put in the damage with the Mystic shots.
Still, though, look at these Sleepy Trouble bubbles. They're commanding their space. They're still getting the poke back, and so the Zoe pick showing why it is Mole's favorite champion, why it's his most played pick of all time. He's still good at finding the damage, finding these moments to strike back. Now, Rare Adam on the back foot. Mid tower tier 2's gone. Tier 2 and bot is gone. The last one remaining is that top tier 2, but I mean, with a minute 40 until that dragon comes up for IG, it's going to be hard to hold on to these structures for longer.
It's going to be really difficult. You're just going to be like putting everything you can, duct tape, whatever it is, to try to stick the buildings together. But IG are coming knocking hard. They are pushing the top lane now. The Baron buff's still up for about another 30 seconds here, and Mole continuously looking for it. Cube, having used the Slicing Maelstrom, won't have it here for the dive that IG is trying to pull off, but the nice stun onto Shun and the tower damage forces IG away from this one. They do get the tier 2 tower, and Zika flashes forward for the kill. He's getting CC'd up, but it doesn't matter because Cube goes down. RA trying to find a play on the backside of it, but Mole getting over with all of the mobility, and IG coming on top again.
Zika's still going. He's still pushing in the spot side. Managed to get that tower to, or the wave to crash underneath the tower. And IG will back away just in time for this dragon. You're seeing the player go on the left-hand side of your screen. On and Zika, very large at this stage. And with no ultimate, no flash, and no TP for Cube as well, he will be a factor as high as he would like in this next fight.
Can you do this right now for RA? Or do you, I feel like you just give the Cloud Soul, but they're positioning here, and Zika going to take the onus to move in and clear some of this vision.
iBoy here with the paddles, or the Sleepy Trouble bubble.
Waiting for the paddle start. There goes half his health. Zika goes right back in as well. Glacial Fissure used late by Zorah. Another Sleepy Trouble bubble lands, and IG want to move forward here. Back still being completed from Zorah. He stops at the last second. But they are fully pushed off of this dragon.
Zika will find Cube.
Well, Cube is just going in there. He forces Leyan and Zorah to stop their backs, and now Leyan, he doesn't get caught by the Sleepy Trouble bubble, but that will be Dragon Soul to IG.
I mean, you're just running in solo over and over again here as Rare Adam, so getting that soul for IG. Mid tower as well. Top tower very vulnerable, but no wave. Mole.
Did they just end the game here off this? I mean, he might be able to get a lot of damage down. Okay, that's a lot from the Paddle Star. They haven't even finished that back yet. Leyan wants to go in to try to stop that, but the resets are on their way for IG.
I mean, IG are just dominating this game. It's only a 4K gold lead, but it feels like so much more with the presence they have on the map. The late game scaling coming through from Ari Mole, not letting Rare Adam breathe, it feels like, in this game. It has been unstoppable from the mid laner, and a fantastic addition to the Invictus Gaming lineup. Just unfortunate one that it came so late in the split.
Yeah, that's the most unfortunate thing about the whole situation, because again, it's just felt like an unlocking of the composition here, and Mole being able to pull out the confidence pick, being able to just keep the oppression up constantly on this team, and especially in these kind of like jungle siege type scenarios around objectives, it's the catchouts are absolutely monstrous.
I mean, demonstration right there is Cube completely caught out. Now IG starting to push forward once more. Baron in 45 seconds. Sticking Zika onto this bot side will create a lot of pressure there. TP is up for the Jax as well. We've already seen how much of a threat he is on these dives with the Hull Breaker in tow as well. But IG just feeling happy to start walking these super creeps down the line.
It's a pretty easy walk too. But they will back off of that, move toward the top side to get some more pressure that way. You have Baron spawning in another 20 seconds. They could try to force something, but really all they're trying to force is RA's attention, because they can just keep poking with Mole. They can keep landing these Sleepy Trouble bubbles, and then RA won't feel fit to go into a fight.
I was very confused to see the TP for a second, then looked at Zorah's unsealed spellbook. Made a lot more sense, but Rare Adam all set up here. There is no objective on the bottom side, so IG just going to continue to land this poke from Mole, look to push Rare Adam back, and keep their eyes on this Baron. Strive has the quickness once more. We'll have to see what he can do with this.
Trying to get some pressure. It's elongated though. Strive all by himself over here. Mole not able to help too much after going into the portal jump, but the rest of IG moving through. You got Wing Pop and the quickness, and Shun goes in with the Cyclone. Keeper's Verdict does knock one out, but RA, they are done. The Sleepy Trouble bubble actually will not connect, so a little bit of separation here, but Shun goes in, gets the kill onto Strive, and the rest of RA are decimated. iBoy might be a genius, but in this one, IG are the geniuses, and this will be a slow but steady and methodical win from IG.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. iBoy seems like he's found himself in the advanced class and can't keep up now with the way the LPL is progressing.
Oh,
does get one
the
though.
Genius? He's getting the last second play. It doesn't matter in the end, though, because IG are just ending the game. iBoy might be able to survive, but the rest of his team's down, and RA as well will drop yet another series on the season, and IG claim victory.
Maul bending down to put on his shoes. I thought he was going to take off his carry pants, because after that performance, they were firmly on after that series. IG's mid laner stepping up massively in this game and across the whole course of this series. And unfortunately for Rare Adam, they just couldn't quite keep IG at bay.
The glow up, man. The glow up of Mole in this series, not only this series. It has been so interesting to watch the bonds be built on this team, it feels like, and a lot of the gameplay, decision making seems to be in the same direction. I think that's, yes, it's the end of the season, but it's so promising. I'm a man of positivity, Dagda, and to see the likes of this composition for Invictus Gaming, to see the likes of this team actually being cohesive, like Shun is not something that you have to kind of turn a side eye on when you're talking about. You can actually be proud of performances that we're seeing from this guy and the rest of the team because of the addition of Mole. I'm so happy.
I think as well, because you've got Mole coming into the squad, it means that you don't necessarily have to go for fights, which I think has been the biggest issue for IG. Like when you look at how they actually want to try and play the game, a huge amount of it has been like, hey, like this series in particular, like we're going to look for picks with the Talia, we're going to separate people out, we're not actually going to go for full 5v5. You're then looking at the same kind of story when you're going over towards what was happening in this one. Well, finding moments to get poked down, finding picks, not really like all out brawls, because that's where IG have really struggled when it came towards the cohesiveness, the communication, all being on the same page for these fights. So it's good to see that, you know, with Mole adding in a new addition, a new style to IG, that they're able to find some success with this.
And we did get what we were thinking, right? It was a very skirmish heavy, very bloody in terms of just fighting a game in game number 3, and we got to see some of the bright points from RA. I think they were trying something a little bit different, especially with the Ezreal in the bottom lane because of all those ADC bans we saw in the last game. But the bright spot for me for RA was that second game, was seeing Leyan perform on a champion that we know and love from him, but as well as to kind of shun the ropes and have a little moment of something to look back on for RA in this series.
Yeah, and I'm going to be really interested to see when we have Christina chatting to our winners here to kind of talk to about how that kind of has come to be, because it definitely feels like with Mo coming in, the communication between that mid jungle feels a lot stronger. The decision making around how they can use those advantages seems to be there a lot better as well. So I definitely think there has been a major step up with Mo coming into the team, and even when we look at Mo from years previous, like he has been someone who has added a lot in that voice to the squad. Very vocal in the comms, making, even if people don't generally understand him, because he's a very thick Northern Chinese dialect, which is why some people could struggle to understand him, but certainly not one who's shy from speaking regardless. So I think across the board, IG have been benefiting from that.
Look, like this man's stats, like it didn't matter that they lost game 2, like his stats were still crazy. And